Hi, this is Ken at KNS Brakes. When we last left, we had installed the Wilwood brakes onto the front of the Corvette, and we checked the wheel fitment to the speed lines. Everything looks good, and we are off to VIR to do some testing. We did 3 weekends at the track this spring. We went with the Tar Heel Sports Car Club, we went with Chin Motorsports, and finally just recently with the National Corvette Museum Club at VIR. Had a great time. The car did well, and we got in about 15 to 20 good sessions with the car. Car makes about 440 wheel horsepower, has some minor cooling mods, etc. And we're running Pirelli takeoffs that we got from usedracecartires.com. Great place, call them up. Anyway, we ran through some brake pads, rotors, ran the kit, and let me get this wheel off and we'll take a look at the rotors and the pads and sort of see what the results are here. So the first thing I want to look at are the brake rotors, because if you recall, this is a stock C5 sized brake rotor, 325 millimeters in diameter, 32 millimeters thick. However, that's about where it ends with that. The stock rotors on these cars tend to want to crack and break pretty rapidly on track. It's definitely an issue on this car. And I mean, as you can see, this rotor did very well. We got about a good 15 or 20 sessions in. I'd say my pace is maybe not quite race pace, but certainly advanced from a DE standpoint. And as you can tell, we got a few hot spots here and there and a little bit of heat checking on the surface, but we were running these G-lock pads and we really had very little issue. We ran an R16 compound in the front, and in the rear of the car, the R12 compounds. Those are the stock brakes on the rear of the car. And we'll probably take a glance at those in a moment. But on these front brakes, you can see. So that is what happens to anodizing when it gets hot. It goes away and we can start to get back to the actual aluminum color. And we got definitely a nice gray transfer layer on the disc surface. A little bit of smearing here and there. The brakes did get hot frequently, I recall that specifically. But they held up quite well to, on average, 25-minute sessions in slightly warm to hot temperatures at VIR. And we don't have any cooling ducts or anything on the car. We wanted to make it as close to what maybe a more casual DE user might expect, but we wanted to put enough tire on the car so we could really try to brake hard frequently. And I think that's what we did. We achieved that pretty well. So again, the rotors look very good. No complaints there. I think those are fantastic. And you know, we kind of knew that. We've run this car quite a few times, and these rotors are definitely quite robust. If you take a look at these brake pads, these are the G-lock pads, and the pads held up well. We didn't get any brake fade or any significant issues. But one thing you will notice is you'll see how the surface of the pad is pretty smooth and shiny. That's, you know, the beginning of some glazing occurring, and that sort of matches up with a little bit of surface imperfections on the disc. So at this point with these pads, for example, we actually changed them. And we did flip them once. There was a little bit of taper. You can almost not even tell from here because we flipped them once about halfway in through. But you can see the wear was overall pretty even, front to top to bottom and front to back. And we didn't have any significant crumbling around the edges of the pads, which those are kind of the first things that happen when you really start to overheat the brakes. So all in all, they did very well. The brakes did feel good all the time. Pedals firm. We started to get some fluid fade towards the end of the third session because we hadn't bled the brakes. So it really lived up to the expectations pretty well. I'd probably say there's definitely more life in this brake pad, but before I reused it, I would maybe want to scuff up the rotor surface and certainly scuff up the pad surface as it's approximately halfway through its life, give or take. The heating it's going to get a little bit hotter faster. So, you know, there maybe is a day left in these pads, but clean them up, kind of put them back in, and you can definitely get some more time out of them. This is another set of pads we used on a previous test. And as you can see, these glazed very rapidly and a little unevenly from top to bottom. These didn't work so well. I'm not sure why. That was a while ago. But again, you can see that glazing that occurs. And that's really just a result of a somewhat smallish brake kit on what we know is a pretty competent car. So, you know, we certainly see the limitations of the kit, But based on many users, maybe you're running street tires on your C5, you may not have high power or lots of suspension mods, or you may not be in the super advanced groups, but you're trying to get away from the expensive Corvette shaped pads, the floating calipers that have a lot of pad taper, the pad wear is rapid. You know, these brakes worked pretty good at a pretty good pace throughout the course of 3 events in hot temperatures, and you know, I was intentionally as hard on them as I could be. So that's pretty much it for now. We're going to go ahead and bleed the brakes, put some new fluid in them, clean up the rotors. We'll probably start with a fresh set of pads, and we're going to put some more heat into them and see how they do. We're going to go through the rest of the season. We'll probably take a short break through August because VIR, if you've been there, you know what it's like this time of year. So thanks for watching, and look for information about this on our website. Contact us at KNS Brakes, because we'll get these items together and turn it into a very affordable brake kit for your Corvette. It should work on C5 and C6 model cars. Thank you.